Hello everybody and welcome to the Adventures of Drawing. I'll draw a scene for you today using a variety of pencils, a smudging tool, and the old eraser. So without further ado, let's go right into this. I've got my sketching block placed vertically today. Just gotta quickly make sure you see the entire scene. Let's make it a little shorter. And maybe adjust the camera a little bit. How am I going to do that? Gotta change up everything here, but still not going to be enough. See if I can take the camera even higher. Now you see all sorts of stuff that you're not supposed to see. Got this out of the way. Bend this a little more straight again, and then turn the camera here. Now it's just about in frame. Are we still in focus? I guess so. Maybe not completely though. Oh, let me get the lighting also. Yeah, that looks pretty much in focus. Okay. Get all the light in here that I can get. Okay. Now we go. Okay, the horizon line is going to be down here. I want to draw a cloudscape today. So let me start above the horizon. I start from the very back, and I just draw the lower sides of the clouds. Just like so. Now, the closer we get to the observer, the less clouds are in the frame. So they're going to look a little bit more like this. But I want the whole sky to be covered in clouds. Maybe this goes more over there, and then something more is over here, something over there, and then up in here, something else, maybe like this. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is for each line that I made, I'm going to make the area above it darker, but I'll leave a little area just below the next line, since each line that I made represents the lower edge of a cloud. And that's the lowest end of the cloud where there's the least amount of sunlight piercing through the droplets of water. So that's where it's the darkest. I also, just like when I draw singular clouds, go across in smaller U-shapes to create volumes inside of the large volume. You can see it right here. Just some smaller U-shapes in there. Maybe one in here and over there. Gotta get some more in here for some extra volumes. Okay. Then go in here, the next layer. Above each line that I made in the beginning, there are more of those U-shapes, and the closer I get to the line above it, I'll make fewer U-shapes. Since down here we look along a foreshortened area of the cloud, and the more we go looking up at the side of the cloud, the less foreshortening there is. Okay. Make some more down here. A little bit more. Something like so. Maybe like this. Down here we need a lot. A very lot of flat U's. And then we make fewer and fewer once we approach the next level or the next cloud up there. Just like so. Like this, we get a really nice separation between the individual clouds. Each darker area resembles a cloud. But we don't just want to make the lower area dark and go lighter as we go up, since then the area wouldn't look really full and detailed. That's why we make those small shapes inside of the shape to really get the detail going. Get in the detail, make it look like there's a whole lot going on in there. Maybe a little bit more over here. And then we go over to the next one. Maybe there's a large shadow to the side of this one. And all this area down here is the lower side of this cloud, since the more up I go on my piece of paper, the more we look up in the sky. And that means the clouds are more above us than in front of us. and we see more of the lower side of the cloud. So the area that appears dark is larger on the piece of paper. Maybe I should extend my clouds to this line right here. So that later I can make this edge of the drawing straight and not cut away too much of the drawing. Otherwise it would be very slim in the end. Okay, maybe also extend this right here. That's better over there. Okay. A whole lot of the same thing. Just U-shapes everywhere. Maybe a little bit less up here. Maybe right there we're in the side of the cloud instead of at the lower side. A little bit up in here. Maybe this area is another cloud. Fill something in right here. I feel like otherwise this area would be boring. Okay. Let's get in some more right here. And then up there. And there I'm touching the upper edge of the scene. So you're not missing anything. You're seeing everything there is. Just the topmost millimeter maybe is cut off, and the bottommost millimeter, so pretty much everything is in view here for you. Okay, the right edge of this cloud right here. And this all is the lower side, the lower area, so it's all rather dark here. Like so. Okay. Next, I take the smudging tool and make this all very smooth, very cloud-like, by starting at the bottom of each cloud and just going up to the next line. But be careful to leave a bright area below each line, since that's where the side of the clouds are, and they get a lot more sunlight than the lower sides, the lower areas, so they are brighter, like so right here. down here. Also keep the light areas within those darker lower sides of the clouds to keep those smaller volumes. You don't want to get rid of them. Otherwise, again, the one side of the cloud would look detailless. Okay, just pull that all up there to the next one. Let's have some more in here. Let's make this a separate cloud right there. Okay. Just go across. Pull all that up. Where you made individual small U shapes, you can also start right here from that U shape and then pull the graphite up towards the next layer. Take care of those little details. You don't want to get rid of everything right here. Let's maybe put in some more details right there. Right here. Okay. Up to the next layer. This is a very dark one. Right there. And it goes across the entire scene. Okay. Getting brighter up here. Let's get some more detail here, just with the smudging tool. You can use it just like a very soft pencil. Also making very soft individual layers, where the volume that sticks out of the cloud doesn't stick out very much at all. It's just a very, very small bump in the cloud. Okay, now we're going up here. Just get it all dark in there. Okay, now to get in some more detail, I'll take the 3B pencil and maybe down here start to make a couple more very flat U shapes, just to get some darker areas in there. And I'm only doing this in the very lower parts of the clouds. I'm not really going into the volumes right here, just the lower edge where they are the darkest. Right here, maybe down there. It's really dark as well. And then up here, we can start going into those areas, because again, we see more of the lower planes of the clouds, maybe up to there. Then here's the next edge, and there's another dark area right here. And I'm sort of following those areas that I made dark earlier. I don't want to go into the bright areas. Just leave those bright so they stick out as light areas. Otherwise, everything's going to be dark in the end, and you want the highlights. Okay, now we go up in here into this very last large cloud. And here we only see the bottom area. So we can go in with the 3B pencil anywhere. But still, I want to leave a couple of those light areas. Maybe make this side a little darker. Okay. Now you can, if you want, again, go in with the smudging tool and blend those dark areas with the medium areas. But I want the contrast to be there. I just maybe go in here and blend this a little bit, but not too much. Just maybe right there, this one, and this area right here. There was too little of a transition, I think, but yeah. Okay. Now we need some sort of a ground down here. And I think we're looking across the sea. Oh. So the horizon is completely flat. Should be completely flat. But since I'm drawing by hand, sometimes there are some irregularities. I can't make it completely straight just by hand, so that's what it is. It's not a problem and not a shame not to be able to draw lines just like they are drawn by a ruler. Okay, I'll make horizontal lines coming in from the side of the scene and ending just short of the middle, where there's going to be the reflection of the sunlight. Okay, and the reflection stops down here. So those horizontal lines go all the way across the scene down there. Okay, now taking the 3B pencil, I'll draw in a couple more lines and make some areas darker. Some areas I leave lighter, since depending on the wind above those different areas of the surface of the water, the surface is more rough with more waves or more calm in other places. So it appears sometimes darker, sometimes lighter. Let's leave a bright spot right there to the left. And right there in the middle of the left side. Okay. Maybe I'll extend this dark area down here, and it goes more to the left into the reflection right here. And now I'll take the 7B pencil and maybe at the height of the middle of this C area, I start to make some horizontal lines. Those are all waves. But we can't see a lot of detail in them yet, so they all appear just completely straight. Maybe this area goes right in here. And there are a couple of waves visible in the reflection right here. Okay. Now down here, we can see a little more detail in the waves. So I'll make those lines go up and down a little bit. Just a little bit wavy, as you say. Make them end somewhere and then continue them a little bit further on. Down here I can't pull completely horizontal lines off either. They always have an inclination when I make those lines, but it doesn't have to be perfect. And maybe with practice and with time, I'll be better at that. Okay, another area down here. And now I want maybe a couple more lines going into the reflection right there. Just a couple more details in here. Down here, we can see the beach. And it goes across just like that. So now I erase all those waves, all this area that's in the background. Now I'll push this up a little bit so you can see everything. I gotta get rid of this. I really pushed hard onto the piece of paper, so I can't get rid of the entirety of those lines, but that's good enough, I think. It's going to be covered right now by this dune anyway. So this is just like drawing the waves in the land when we draw a landscape. There are just a couple of elevations in the sand right here. And they are darker at the top right there. And then get lighter as the inclination of the terrain changes. Darker right here, and then getting lighter towards the next layer. Darker up here. Maybe I need to make this one darker as well. Okay, I go in with the 3B pencil now, make the upper edge even darker. For this area right here as well. Down here. And then also this wave right there. And this little one right here. Okay. Now let's have some grass grow on this dune. This is grass with very thick blades, and it grows rather tall, knee-high, I'd say. It's adapted to growing in the sand and to the rough conditions up here, just at the edge of the sea. Another patch right there. Okay, now I'll go back to the HB pencil and I'll make a couple of very short, very flat U's in here. Maybe somebody walked along right there and left some indentations in the sand. Maybe like so. Okay, the last thing I want to do is have some rays of sunlight piercing through the clouds. Maybe they start back here. And go straight down, all parallel, down there. Just use the eraser. Don't push down completely. You want to still be able to see what's behind the ray of sunlight. It's very much transparent or translucent. So you can see the layer of clouds behind it. Layer of clouds. Did I just say clowns? Right there. It lands on this brighter area of the surface of the water right there. Okay. Maybe a couple more beams of sunlight coming down from here. Let's have, I don't know. Is that enough already? Yeah, I don't want to overdo it. or just looking at it, I can see a couple more from closer up. Not sure though. So I'm going to leave it at that. I don't want to get rid of all those clouds. We've got some sunlight coming through here. Maybe I make those areas wider though. Maybe that's the trick. Just a little bit wider there. Yeah, I think that looks pretty much like a couple of rays of sunlight piercing the clouds. Okay, so that's our scene for today. Let me clean up the edges now. Gotta approximate this right here. Be careful not to go out too much. Oh, that's a pretty good one. Pretty straight right here. Okay. Up at the top. Maybe like so. Right here at the left side. How's that going to be? I think I can cut it right here. No, I can't. Gotta go in more. Just a little bit more. I think that's it. Let me get rid of this line on the inside right here. Yeah, I've got this line right there now, but I would have to take away too much for it to disappear, so I'll just leave that in. Okay, and this lower area is pretty straight already. All right, let me get rid of this eraser residue. Oh boy, I went down very much into the drawing at the upper edge to the right here. Well, maybe, and this, yeah, I cut off way too much up here as well. Could have gone right here and then down there. Maybe I can compensate in the next drawings. I know my flaws. I know where I tilt to a side now, up there, and then right here on this side I go to the left too much. So maybe I'll be able to change that from now on. Okay. That's it for the drawing today. Thanks for being here. Thanks for checking it out. If you've made it to the end, please consider subscribing and liking the video. I hope you got something out of it. Maybe some inspiration or motivation to draw yourself, or you've got it running as ASMR in the background to relax or to get some other type of work done yourself. Drop down in the comments and let me know what you do while you watch those VODs. Also, tell me what you think about my motifs and about my technique. Maybe you know something I can improve upon. I'd be glad to hear that. Okay, with all that said, thank you again for being here, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.